How are y'all doing today? How are y'all doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everyone around the world. I'm your favorite friendly neighborhood beard bro.
Mr. Kennedy!
I am sorry, my voice is starting to go. Like I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm not feeling too good. But we will try to get through this. Welcome to episode 3 of the Mr. VG podcast. I have a lot of news for y'all. First and foremost, I hope that all the dads enjoyed their day yesterday, Father's Day. Yesterday, I hope that all the good dads around the world got celebrated as they should. And I hope that everybody had a great weekend as well too. We got a lot of news to get into this week. Let's get into it. Publisher 505 Games, they announced a new Bloodstained game. Bloodstained the Scarlet Engagement. For those of y'all who don't know what Bloodstain is, I don't know what y'all doing, because Bloodstain is like, if you love Castlevania, you'll love this game, especially Ritual of the Night. If you guys like Symphony of the Night for the PlayStation 1, you guys will get in on this. So I was extremely happy to see that. I'm excited to hear about that. It's going to be coming out in 2026 with 2 new characters. So no Miriam in this one. You're going to be taking control of Leo and Alex, which leads me to believe that this may be multiplayer. And if it is, hey, I'm all up for that. But I'm definitely excited to see that. Another game that was announced, and it caught my attention because y'all know how I love the Japanese culture, like history, culture, and stuff like that. So when I saw Silent Hill F, I was damn sure excited. You know, I got a lot to say about Konami because they're really putting their best foot forward. And I remember back when I was watching Alpha Omega Sen, when they were saying that they wanted to get back in the good graces of the fans, and it looks like they're trying with the Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater remake, Silent Hill F, and I'll be talking about it on the next episode. But they sent out a teaser image, possibly saying that it's going to be a remake of the first Silent Hill game. So if that's the case, hey, I'm all for it. Inject that shit into my veins. But I'm definitely excited for Silent Hill F. The physical edition pre-orders are now live for the PS5 and Xbox Series X. So and it will be exclusively for all of the consoles on September 25th. So I'm definitely excited for that. I'm gonna pick that up probably day one. You know, I never go and buy games on day one, but I had to see that. So I gotta pick that up. I gotta play it. And since the Silent Hill 2 remake did good the first time, you know, I got faith in these guys. Delta Snake Eater looks great. Um Silent Hill F looks great. If we do get some kind of trailer or something for the Silent Hill 1 remake, it, you know, Konami, man, yeah, I'll take y'all back with folded arms, because for a while there they were all shit. You know, they shunned video games and they were all about pachinko machines. You know, it started all the way back when they canceled Silent Hills that they had back on the PS3 or PT, whatever you want to call it. That's when they started to go downhill. But yes, another announcement that we got was the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. Um, let me read it to y'all first on that. The Legacy Collection has all of the versions of the first Mortal Kombat, you know, which for arcade, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Gear. Same thing with Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat. You get Mortal Kombat 4 for the arcade, so you don't get the home console versions. You get Mortal Kombat Advance for the Game Boy Advance, which is the absolute dirt worst garbage Mortal Kombat game, at least for the handhelds that I remember. The performance issues, it looks like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, but it plays like it's on a freaking Tiger Electronic handheld. So let me put that image in y'all's head. You also get Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance for the Game Boy Advance and Tournament Edition for the Game Boy Advance. Let me tell y'all something. Like, I'm a Mortal Kombat fan through and through. No doubt about that. I love Mortal Kombat. But I would be lying if I sat here and I said that I was excited for this, because I'm really not. Yeah, it's cool to get Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, Ultimate 3, 4. Even though I don't care for 4, a lot of people love that game. I just feel like there's so much more that they could have done with this. That's just my personal opinion. That they could have put a lot more into this collection. Now, this may be like the Mega Man collection, the Legacy collection. They had two parters. They had the first one with the first 6 Rockman games, and then they had 7 through 10 on the next one. So who knows? We may be getting another one, but I've played these games on so many different variations. I even have it on this computer. If you really want to catch my attention, why not bring us Shaolin Monks? Give us a Shaolin Monks, HD remaster. That's a game that's one of the best Mortal Kombat spinoffs, one of the best Mortal Kombat games they ever made. And it just sucks that it's stuck on purgatory on the first Xbox, not Xbox One, the first Xbox console to come out in PS2. And it just sucks that that game is stuck on that system. I don't know if it's a rights issue or something, but that would grab my attention. How about that? Where's the PS2 era Mortal Kombat? Where's Deadly Alliance? Where's Deception? Where's Armageddon? Even though Armageddon's a steaming pile of shit, why isn't that included on there? Maybe this is the first part. I will withhold judgment, because there might be a second Legacy collection soon. Who knows? Maybe they'll include all that other stuff on there. But as far as I'm concerned here, really not impressed. I really don't care, because there's so many different avenues that I can play these games anyways. So, but I figured I would talk about it and give my opinion about it anyways. Now, let's talk about Ubisoft for a second, because we got quite a bit to say about these guys. The Ubisoft Forward Showcase is not happening this summer. The team confirms. Steven Tilio, I guess that's how you pronounce it. This comes straight from him. It says Ubisoft Forward, which has been a digital and in-person showcase for the company's games just about every June, isn't happening this year. A company rep tells me Ubisoft will participate in the IGN Live, which already happened, which was June 7th and 8th, and a PC show on June 8th. So all of this stuff happened. A company rep says, "We are eager to connect with our players and showcase our games. We are continuing to explore opportunities to share updates as we look forward to provide more information at a later date." So they have nothing. That's basically what they're telling me. They have jack shit. Ubisoft is in the shitter. I mean, we've already talked about this before. If you guys remember the hot take days, me and Kelsey went in on Ubisoft, and it became pretty much a joke at this point when it comes to this company and how they do things. But we're not done on Ubisoft yet. As if the bad news didn't keep on coming. Ubisoft is giving up on X Defiant just over 6 months since after it launched. Ubisoft plans to shut down X Defiant. They denied it at first. That's the thing. Here's what it says. Plans to shut down X Defiant were denied as recently as 2 months ago. But unfortunately, Ubisoft now officially made the decision to end the game. It's already been delisted in the Xbox Store, although the service will remain live until June 3rd, 2025, which already passed. So it's already done. In a message on social media, it was explained that the free-to-play journey became too much to continue. Free-to-play in particular is a long journey. Many free-to-play games take a long time to find their footing and become profitable. It is a long journey that Ubisoft and the teams working on the game were prepared to make until very recently, but unfortunately, the journey became too much to sensibly continue. So, in other words, they lost so much money, they weren't seeing any product from this game, which is no surprise here because look at how many of these games are out there. X Defiant to me looked like just another generic loot, like a looter game where you just go around and shoot stuff. That's what it looks like to me. And it doesn't help that Ubisoft SF and Ubisoft Osaka both closed. The Sydney team ramping down. It says up to 277 people were laid off. Half of Deviant's team moving forward to other projects. That's why they shut it down, because they wasn't seeing any money. They sent a lot of their people to other projects. Now, what those projects are, I could not tell you because Ubisoft ain't got shit going on. They still working on, they're still having problems with what is the Division 2. People are still complaining about that. So if you are a fan of the X Defiant games, you're shit out of luck. It's done. It's over. The servers are down. It's done, folks. Anyways, though. Now let's talk about something I'm excited about. Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Because there's a lot of speculation going out there, but we did get the announcement, which I was very surprised to hear. With a new character, I guess you can say the daughter of one of the ladies from the Outbreak series. So when I heard about that, I was like, okay, is this gonna be a spinoff? But no, it's Resident Evil 9. So cool. But taking a look at it, you play as Grace Ashcroft. That's one hell of a name. And from the looks at it, it looks like it's harkening back to what made Resident Evil scary. So like along the lines of Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake. As much as I love the 4 remake, this is what I was looking for. It takes place after all of that stuff. Raccoon City was destroyed in Resident Evil 3, and it looks like absolute dog shit. So it was great to see that. Now there is speculation that Leon Kennedy, the other Mr. Kennedy, is gonna be in this game. We will see. But we don't know everything about it yet. All we know is that it is coming out, and it will have a new character, which is fine. I'm fine with that, because you know what? As much as I love Chris, Jill, much as I love Claire, Leon, all of that, it's nice to see somebody, and Ethan Winters aside, because he was just boring as shit. It's nice to see a new person come along to take on the role of protagonist, and she might be cool. We'll just have to see. It's saying that Resident Evil 9 is due to be released on February 27th, 2026, and it will be available on Steam along with PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. No mention of the Switch 2. No mention of the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not going to come out, but we'll just have to see. I don't know. The Nintendo Switch 2 just came out, so it's, a lot of the game developers are probably just trying to figure out how to scale their games down to get it to work on that, but we'll just have to see. I just hope that it's not a situation with the original Switch where they just have Steam versions, because a lot of people don't know the Nintendo Switch has a Steam version of the Resident Evil 2 remake and games like Control and stuff, and it controls exactly how you would think, like trash. But since the Switch 2 is supposed to be a more powerful console, we'll just have to see if they get it on the console, But for right now, you got the main 3 as it should be. Let's move on here. For those of y'all who remember when they were talking about the Black Panther video game that was supposed to be coming out, it has officially been canceled, which breaks my heart because I would have liked to see what they were doing with that. They were building on that game for a long time. It says Black Panther developers react to game's cancellation. This is their quote. It breaks my heart. The world won't see it. Members of the Black Panther development Cliffhanger Games have taken to social media to voice their disappointments over the game's cancellation. Speaking on Blue Sky, Carla Ortiz, a concept artist who worked on the Marvel superhero titles, credited the incredible crew that was working on such an amazing and stunning game. Ortiz went on to describe the Black Panther as detailed, rich, beautiful, before adding, "It breaks my heart the world won't see it. It also breaks my heart to say goodbye to the team. What an honor to work with all of you. What a sad day." And it just sucks because it was being developed by Electronic Arts, who does this kind of thing. Electronic Arts just cancels shit without giving any reason. It says that Electronic Arts revealed that it will be canceling the Black Panther game in development at Cliffhanger Games and shutting down the studio. So another studio being shut down, probably because they're bleeding money. They sent out an email to all the staff. Laura Mealy, I guess that's how you pronounce it, president of EA Entertainment, revealed that the decision, alongside a number of recent layoffs and other game cancellations, are as a result of our sharpening focus and putting our creative energy behind most significant growth opportunities. In other words, probably other games, their flagship franchises, I guess you can call. What the fuck do they have these days? Seriously, what does EA have? Give me one good game that they have going on right now. They don't. They're just canceling a whole bunch of shit. She also added that EA is now going to focus its efforts on a small collection of franchises going forward, including Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends. Oh, joy. Yeah, I forgot about that. I used to work security for EA down here in Orlando, and they have a sixth floor building downtown Orlando. The second floor was just all Apex. Like literally, it was a Apex floor with all of the Apex, developers all over that floor. Then you would go up to the third floor. That would be miscellaneous stuff, games that you don't really know about. Then you, of course, at the top floor was the sports, all of the sports stuff that they were doing. The fifth floor was was all of the audio stuff and the motion capture. Cool stuff. But yeah, I forgot they had Apex Legends. So they're gonna be focusing on that shit. The executive also reaffirmed that a new Mass Effect game is still in development at BioWare, as is EA's Motive's Iron Man and the next Star Wars Jedi title. Oh man. And this Black Panther game was announced back in July 2023. So 2 years. 2 years these people were working on this game, and all of a sudden canceled. Yeah, we're just gonna shut this shit down, man. We got more important things. We got to get more loot boxes in Apex. We got to get more shooters out there, because God forbid we can have something that's, that's unique. We just have to do the paint by number stuff because we know it will sell. Damn it. It's ridiculous. But I mean, that's business. It sucks. It really does. And I just hate to see people's time wasted like that, because developing video games is not easy. And these people work these 12-hour days, sometimes 17-hour days, just working on stuff like this for 2 years. For 2 years. That sucks, man. But, there you go. There's not much going on the Nintendo front, because, I got like one story for Nintendo, and I had to tell it to y'all because it's just hilarious. All the Nintendo news has just been about the Switch 2, of course, because it just came out. It's their new baby. But speaking of the Switch 2, it says GameStop broke some customers' Nintendo Switch 2 units with a hilarious mistake. This is crazy. Like, I had to read this. All right, let's go down here. It says here, let me get the notes up. It says the unfortunate accident happened to a bunch of buyers who got their Nintendo Switch 2 consoles from a GameStop store in Staten Island, that's New York. GameStop confirmed that it is aware of the issues and will replace all consoles for free, which is cool that they would do that. Fans took to Reddit and X to post photos of their punctured Nintendo Switch 2 screens, but the console still works. The display is damaged, but the staples didn't render it useless. So in other words, they were stapling things to the box, which punctured the screen. How the hell could they not know that that was going to happen? Why would they even think to do that, like stapling the prices and papers to the box, which punctures the console? Store employees stapling receipts to the box, that's what punctured the screens. Isn't new. It happens all the time. It's hard to blame them. The bigger issue is the way that the Switch 2 is packaged. The screen faces outwards and is only protected with a thin piece of cardboard, a staple that can easily punch through and puncture the screen. So if that is the case, Nintendo, that's a big L, man. That's a big L, because the original Nintendo Switch packaging was not like that. They had it inside of a box that you put inside of a box so that you can protect it. Why would they package it like that? So I look at it like this. The employees did what they were supposed to do, what they always do. But come on, man. You know, if you're going to, I would rather you just hand me the receipt with the box. Don't staple it to anything, because that's how shit gets damaged. And I hope that they change their policies on that. GameStop confirmed on IGN that it was investigating the matter, and it will make customers whole after the report surfaced online. Later, GameStop took to X to clarify that the Switch 2 staple incident happened in only one location in New York. We've addressed a unique situation of staple damaging the Switch 2 screens, isolating it to one store, GameStop said. Adding a touch of humor to the tweet, replacements have been offered, staplers have been confiscated. Oh man, like how does this stuff happen? I just thought that story would be funny for y'all, man. You know, so at least they're doing the right thing, because they could have easily been dicks and said, you know what, you know, it is what it is. We're not replacing it, but they're replacing these people's units if they can get their hands on some, because the Nintendo Switch has sold out. Nintendo Switch 2 has sold out. I mean, a ridiculous amount. They're already over 1 million, like 1.1 million units already sold. So good luck getting your hands on a Nintendo Switch 2, because y'all know how this shit goes. You know that there are people buying up multiple of these consoles and then turning them around and putting them on eBay and Amazon and selling them for ridiculous prices. I already see it when I get on Facebook. Don't ask me why I'm on Facebook, but yes, Facebook, you know, people already selling the Switch 2 that hasn't even been out that long, brand new in the box, 700, 800, 900. I even saw one that was $1,000. And that's what happens. It's the same thing that happened with the Super Nintendo Mini, the Nintendo Mini. People are going out and buying 5, 6, 7 of them. Now they're hard to find. And when you do find them, they're just ridiculous prices that people can't afford. And that sucks. You know, the end rant over. So that's all the Nintendo news that I have. Let's move on over here. Let's move on over to the Xbox, because we got a lot of Microsoft news to talk about. Now, Video Game Union announced first contract with Microsoft. This is the first unionized contract that Microsoft has ever had, which I'm definitely excited to hear about that. It says a union representing 300 video game workers at Microsoft said on Friday that it has reached a tentative agreement with the tech company on terms of the first union contract in video game history. In video game history. Wow. So no other company has done that. The Communications Workers of America, which represented the workers, announced that the contract covering quality assurance of employees at ZeniMax, the gaming publisher, which Microsoft brought for $7.5 billion in a deal closed in 2021, make blockbuster titles, including The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Doom. The agreement includes a 13.5% wage increase for all workers and institutes new minimum pays for each category of jobs, the union said. Employees in the gaming industry, particularly those who work long hours in quality assurance, testing games for bugs, and other glitches, have been working for several years to organize their pay and conditions. That is awesome. So they reached a deal to get more pay, which as they should, because like I just said, these gaming companies, when you're a developer, man, they work you to death. They don't get paid as much as they should get paid for the amount of work that they put in. And it's great to see things like this, because there will be another story on episode 4 about the I never could say that name, Afra, whatever the heck you say. Remember when I was talking about that, the video game actors? I keep messing up their name, man. Sorry. So sue me. But there's more on that next week. We'll be talking about that because it looks like it finally came to an end. I couldn't get all the notes into this because there's so much shit to talk about. It's I didn't want this to be a 3-hour show. But good for them. Hopefully all video game companies follow suit, because a lot of these people, they deserve the pay that they should be getting for the hard work that they put in. And they should get other caveats and things like that for all of the work that they do. So hopefully this has a snowball effect. Good for them. Now, the Xbox Ally X, or Ally X, is real. It's a handheld. Now, before we get into this whole thing, because there is a misconception about the Xbox handheld here. This is not a handheld Xbox console. This is a handheld PC console. There's a big difference. They were working on a handheld, specific Xbox console where you could just play the Xbox games, but it was canceled in order for this. So it's saying that the Xbox ROG Ally will cost, if you're over here, $499 for the base unit and $799 for the upgrade. Whoa. So yeah, of course it's gonna cost a lot of money. But it's a handheld console based solely around the Windows operating system. So you will be able to play Xbox games, but it's going to be PC, like PC type of thing. So for those people who are hoping that it was just going to be like, oh, it's Xbox only in handheld form, it's not. So, you'll probably get Steam and things like that. I'm sorry, my voice is starting to go. I really am sorry. It's squeaking in and out. I'm going to try to get through this as best as I can. I'm really not feeling too well. But it says that the pre-order launch, it will be in August. That's when the pre-orders will start going out for this handheld console. My whole thing on this, I'm looking at this, is saying that it has the AMD Ryzen Z2A chip. It says that it has 16 gigs of memory and 512 gigs of storage for the base model. The base model, which costs $500. Now, the 512 gigabyte storage, really, that's what they're giving us. And then they have, of course, they have their version, which is the higher one that I was talking about, the $800 one. They're calling that one the Xbox Ali X. That one has 24 gigs of memory and 1 terabyte of storage, which really isn't that much either, because as big as these games are now, like look at Fortnite, for God's sakes, it takes up like 200 gigabytes on a hard drive. So the way that I'm looking at this is kind of look at it like the Series X and S. You have the S version, which is the white version of the console. That's the cheaper one of the two, 512 gigabytes, 16 gigs of memory. Then you have the X version, 24 gigs of memory, and 1 terabyte of storage. So that's the way that they're gonna be selling it. It looks pretty cool, but with all of the handhelds that we have here, the Steam Deck, which already does like the PC thing well, you already have a Ali handheld itself by itself that they came out with. You got the Google handheld as well too. We have a lot of these right now. So it's kind of hard to get excited for that. And my personal opinion, it feels like it's a little too late for Xbox, for Microsoft to be doing this handheld thing. When we've already had Sony have 3. We already had the Nintendo Switch. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Starting to go. Voice is starting to go. We've already had 2 versions of the Switch. So, well, we'll just have to see. It might be cool, but I just don't think it's gonna change Microsoft's fortunes and make a big splash, because it's already been done. Anyways, though, 6 Xbox games are shutting down their servers as of this month, to be exact. We already talked about X Defiant. We already talked about that. The First Descendant for the Xbox One, June 19th, 2025, that's shutting down. Black Desert for the Xbox One, June 26th, 2025. Resident Evil RE-Verse shutting down its servers on June 29th, 2025. Madden NFL 21 shutting down on June 30th. Stampede shutting down its servers in June, but it doesn't have the date. The Halo servers have been shut down for the Xbox 360. The fact that they were still working all the way until now, that's one thing. Look, I give them applause for that, because the Xbox 360 is like 2 generations ago. But the Halo 3, Halo Reach, and Halo 4 servers have officially been shut down, so you can no longer get any matches on that. That's a generation of people that are going to be very disappointed, and that's the door closed shut. Resident Evil Reverse, that jumped out at me. This was an idea that could have worked. It's just that they half-assed it, as they do with a lot of these tacked on multiplayer things that they put in games. They don't put thoughts in it. They don't put the thoughts in it, and Reverse could have been cool. And it doesn't really surprise me that it's been canned, because they're probably bleeding a lot of money from that anyways. So those are games that are being shut down. This one surprises me. Tango Gameworks has officially reopened. Remember, they were bought out, and then they did nothing with that. Like literally, the company that bought them did absolutely jack shit. But they're reopening, and they were acquired by Crafton in August of 2024. Remember when I told you guys about that? The company announced that it is currently hiring for a number of positions for early work on an unannounced action game. It took some time, but the official office for Tango Gameworks Inc. is open, and our hybrid working environment finally has an office counterpart, the studio said in the today's update. Things are, it says these things take time, but our office in Tokyo is back open as we fill in with our memorabilia and our projects, beginning decorating and based on our new brand identity. So that's really cool that they got that back open. It says that the positions that they're hiring for is senior application programmers, senior graphics programmer, senior system programmer, user interface programmer, senior level designer, senior animator, cutscene manager, senior video effects technical artist, senior character artist, facilities manager, and IT support. So they need a lot of people. But it is cool to see that they, that they're starting to get their footing again, because y'all remember they did the Evil Within games, and they also did the High Five Rush games as well too. And they were talking about bringing that back as well too. So that was really cool that they're doing that. Let's see, give me just 1 second. I'm sorry. Yeah, my voice is really starting to go. We got to get through this. One final thing on the Xbox front. Black Myth Wukong is finally coming to the Xbox after a full year of hitting the PS5 and PC, along with the breakout action game's first ever discount. Black Myth Wukong developer Game Science announced that its breakout action game is coming to the Xbox Series X and Series S August 20th, 2025. So, for those of y'all who don't know, that's one of the most popular games that came out last year. It's based on Journey to the West, which, there's so many things based off of that. Dragon Ball came from that. It's the Sun Go. What is it? I forgot what it was called. Sen Goku. Is it Sen Goku? I think it was. One of those other animes that I remember seeing in past time. But yes, Journey to the West, Sun Wukong. We all know about that if you guys read the stories. But if you're excited, Xbox finally gets to get it. I hope that it runs just as good as it runs on the PS5 and on the PC, because Xbox has a track record when they get ports, you got to patch that shit because of the performance issues, and I just hope people don't get screwed. And finally, let's move on to our good friends at Sony. Not much going on for Sony right now, but it looks like Sony slashes its PS5 prices as the Nintendo and Xbox hike their console costs. So Sony has announced that it will be lowering the prices for the PS5 amid the Nintendo Switch 2 release and the Xbox console price hike. Sony announced that at their Days of Play 2025, it is kicking off on May 28th, which already passed, with deals for the customers. Sony will be selling their PS5 console with the Call of Duty 6 bundle for $400, $399. That's a $119 discount for the average price sale. Other discounts, Sony announced that it will be $50 off from the PS5 Pro consoles, $30 off from the PSVR 2 headset and bundle, and $30 off the DualSense Edge controllers and more. While Sony annually holds their Days of Play event, this comes during a time of question in this current gaming console generation. So I don't know if the sales are still going on there, but I think that that's cool. I think that that's very smart of Sony to do something like that, because you see the bullshit that Microsoft is pulling. I told y'all about that in the last episode, that they hiked the prices of their consoles up so damn high, even though nobody really buys it. Over $100 for the Xbox Series X. They hiked it up over $100 more. Same thing with the Series S. And then you see how much the Nintendo Switch 2 is costing, $499, $500. Sony said, hey, this is the time now to get people to grab our stuff, let's give them discounts. Let's give them some percentages off this stuff so to make it easier for them to make that decision, because the holidays is coming up, folks. And a lot of parents aren't going to be out there trying to pay, what you would pay for. You could pay a car payment, car insurance. You could pay damn near all your bills in the month minus the rent, just buying one of these consoles. Like, I could pay everything here, besides, like I said, besides the rent. If I went out and I bought a Xbox Series X again, or if I went out and bought the Switch 2, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not paying no $500, $600 for that shit. It's not worth me getting that right now. But yes, that was a good tactic by Sony. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but good on them. Also, the games that they announced at the State of Play, because I was excited. I really wanted to talk about that. A new 007, First Light. So a new 007 game, which hasn't, I can't even remember the last time a 007 game came out in this current generation or last generation, because there wasn't any. So the fact that they announced that put me off right there. I was like, hell yeah. I'm like, let me check this out. It takes place, it's a young James Bond instead of, the older one that we would know. Let me see if I can get a little bit more. Yep. It's a young James Bond. They already got the website up. It's going to be for the PlayStation, the Xbox, Steam. It's going to be on the Nintendo Switch too, as well too. Surprise. Yeah. So it's going to be on the Switch too. It says discover a new standalone reimagined James Bond origin story. So this is a different story from what we're used to. And the events that led up to the audacious young hero to become the best MI6 agent. So this sounds like a prequel to me. It sounds like all the events that took place before he became the agent that we know as James Bond. So that's cool. I already talked about Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Remake, or Delta Snake Eater. That's August 28th, 2025. I cannot explain to you guys how much I love the Metal Gear series. I have played the Metal Gear games, and I'm not talking about the Nintendo bullshit that we got here. I'm talking about Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear Solid on the MSX, the Japanese computer that came out years ago. I played it on there. I played the sequel. I played Metal Gear Solid from PlayStation. Fun story about that. When Metal Gear Solid came out on the PlayStation, I actually didn't like it. It took me a while to come around to it because I just wasn't into the espionage type stuff back then. Sneaking around and killing dudes and stuff. I wasn't into that then. I was more of an action guy. But then when I finally got my hands on the PlayStation and I started to play that game, yeah, I was hooked. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, I have a love-hate relationship with that. The game is great. The graphics is great. But the thing is, again, this is story time with Mr. Kennedy. I remember getting that game for the PS2 and I was so hyped. And I was playing through, I was like, oh man, look at how cool Snake looks. Look at the graphics. Look at all of the actions that he's doing, the guns. And then halfway through the game, they make you play as this guy Raiden, who it was basically Snake without all of the badass qualities. And I remember sitting there, I'm like, who is this guy? I'm thinking, okay, well, you're probably only gonna play as him as, a good section of the game, and then we'll go back to Snake. The whole entire time I was playing the damn game, I was like, when are we gonna get back to Snake? When are we gonna get back to Snake? They made us play as Raiden for the rest of the game, and it soured me on this game. I do not like it, specifically because Raiden is a pussy in that game. I'm afraid of the night. I'm afraid of what I'll become. and he's in a freaking love triangle. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm like, where's Snake? Like, bring back Snake. And I just remember being so mad. I remember being so mad, man. When, because I hate when they do that. Like, there's nothing wrong with introducing new characters, but to make you play as someone other than the main protagonist, and that's not the only game that ever did that. Devil May Cry 4. There's a reason why I don't like that. Why? Because they make you play as Nero, who was Dante without all of the badass qualities. There's a pattern here. He looked like Dante. He played somewhat like Dante, but he wasn't Dante. And I'm like, don't do that to me. You get to play as Dante like halfway through the middle of the game. Like, come on, man. Don't call it Devil May Cry if you're not going to be able to play as the main protagonist. Don't call it Metal Gear Solid if you're not going to play a Snake or Big Boss. I hate when they do that. Anyways, though, rant over. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. That may be my favorite game in the whole entire series because you take control of Big Boss, which is Snake's father. And Solid Snake's father, Liquid Snake's father, Solid the Snake father. You know, they're test tube babies through the DNA. You know, I'm not going to get into the story, but my favorite movie of all time is Rambo First Blood, Part 2. When he's in the jungle and he's in Korea and he's picking off the Korean soldiers. So when I saw Metal Gear Solid 3, I was like, oh, I got to get my hands on this. I got to get my hands on it. When I tell you I played that game damn near every single day, I played that game damn near every single day. I had it for the PS2. I had it for the 3DS. Yes, they did have a version on the 3DS. So when I saw that they're doing the remake, I gotta grab it, gotta cop it. I'm not gonna get into the whole list of things. I got an idea. For those of y'all, I did do a Resident Evil tier list of all the games that I played. I may do that for Metal Gear Solid. So I'll keep y'all updated on that. It's gonna be exclusive to YouTube. But I am excited for that. Ghost of Yatai. That's the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Looks pretty damn cool. Like, I gotta get my hands on that game. I haven't even played Ghost of Tsushima yet. I love samurai stuff. I love Japanese lore and Chinese lore and Asian mythology and stuff like that. I love those types of games. So I'm excited for that. That's coming out October 2nd, 2026. Marvel Token Fighting Souls. It's another Marvel fighting game. When I saw that, I was like, okay. You know, I wasn't expecting that. But y'all know that the Kings of Fighters, and I'm not saying King of Fighters from SNK, which is also a great franchise. But all of the greatest fighting games that I've ever played were like the Marvel versus Capcom stuff. You know, Marvel versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, X-Men versus Street Fighter. Just some of the best, most colorful, fast-paced fighting games I've ever played in my life. So when I saw a new Marvel fighting game, oh, sign me up. But if y'all can hear me, I don't know if they'll never listen to this, but please put my Betsy in the game. Please put Psylocke in the game because Psylocke is my favorite Marvel character. She's my favorite X-Men. I love that woman to death. So if I can play as her, I'm a happy beard bro, man. Or at least include DLC where we can play as her. I'm happy to get that. Anyways, though, Thief VR, which is the Legacy of Shadows. Thief is a first-person style game. I've never played any of those, but I have seen screenshots. I do know that it's first person. And so people will be able to play that through the VR system. And Neon 3, which is coming out in early 2026. I had probably butchered the name, but it looks like a Oni game, like a demon style Oni game, and it looks really cool. I remember the first two came out. I never got the chance to play them. I meant to get around to it, but I just had, a backed up catalog of games that I'm playing now. But I'm excited to see that as well too. So we got a good year coming up at the end of this year and next year with all of these games. I just hope that they don't cancel a lot of these for all of these, but we have a lot of things coming up that I am excited for, and I know that you guys are excited for. And it looks like gaming has started to make that pivot because for a long time, we were talking about how the gaming industry hit a wall where they just couldn't do anything different. They just couldn't come out with anything innovative. They weren't giving us anything good. But look at Capcom, what they're pushing out. Look at, Konami, they're making their way back up. So I'm happy to see these things because Konami used to be the shit back in the day. Capcom, still one of the best third-party companies of all time. And I just hope that they continue. I don't know what Square Enix is doing. I don't know if they're working on a new Tomb Raider. I don't know if they're bringing out something else. I haven't seen any news on these guys at all, but they were another heavy hitter as well too. I'm holding out hope. This is the last thing I'll say. I'm holding out hope that Capcom, with all of these Resident Evil games and the remakes that they were doing, please take that same engine. Do like if there is going to be a Silent Hill remake that Konami's doing, then why don't you give us a Dino Crisis remake? I've said it before, I'll keep saying it. Dino Crisis on the Resident Evil 2 engine or the Resident Evil 3 remake engine or even 4 engine, man, sign me up. The dinosaurs, I can only imagine how the dinosaurs look, the T-Rex, how Regina would look. It would just be so cool. Like, just give us that. And for God's sakes, because I'm tired of hearing about it, give them the Code Veronica remake. Because there's a lot of Code Veronica fans out there that you guys have just completely skipped over. And that's not fair. But yeah, it's gonna be a good year for gamers, and that's gonna be great. That is it for my notes. I will be back in 2 weeks for episode 4. We're gonna have a lot of things to talk about on that episode as well too. There was so much news, gaming news this week, that I had to actually split up my notes because I got like 3 pages of notes because there's so much shit to talk about, and I'm like, yeah, I can't talk about this all on one episode because I'll be sitting there for 3 hours, and nobody wants to hear that. So, thank you to everyone that showed up today for episode 3. I will have this pushed out to the feed in just a moment when I get done here. Again, I'm not feeling too well, so I'm sorry for my voice being as cracked and not as loud and boisterous as it normally is. But we made it through. You guys have a good day. I will be back tomorrow on Resident Evil Tuesdays. We'll be playing through. I don't know what we'll be playing, but I did play through Resident Evil 2 remake with some mods. I had Claire with Leon's arsenal weapons, so that was fun to do that. That was a lot of fun. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and you have a great week.